Shelby Church is a person that I study religiously. Do I study Shelby Church because I'm a coon? Maybe. But Shelby Church is continuing to grow her platform. She works very, very hard. She drops a lot of content. And so when I seen this video pop up of hers, I said, I got to break it down because this very much feeds directly into what it is that I'm trying to convince you guys and what I'm trying to show you, right? And what I'm trying to show you is that there's people making $1 million a year on this platform. There's people making $1 million a year on this platform. $1 million a year. And guess what she checking for? Not y'all. Not y'all. You know what she doing? She running that checkup. She running that checkup. Let's go ahead and play the video and let's get into it. I'm going to continue to read super chats throughout the show.
I got my first paycheck, Google AdSense paycheck, when I was about 14 for $500. I never imagined that YouTube would become as lucrative of a career as it has for so many people.
Look at that. She had a camera, and a laptop in front of her. That's it. That's all it takes. A camera and a laptop. You don't even have to have a camera anymore. All you got to do is use your phone. You ain't even got to use your phone. You can use the webcam on your laptop. A camera and a laptop, this chick is cooking.
2022 was definitely my best and busiest year I've ever had with YouTube. My name is Shelby Church. I'm 28, living in Seattle, and you're watching Millennial Money. Well, sort of. CNBC's never actually reached out to me, so I just made my own. If you guys have never seen Millennial Money, it's a documentary series.
She don't think, look at this. It's so many gems in this and we haven't even gotten into it. This chick said, CNBC ain't never reached out to me, so I decided that I wanted to make my own. It caught my eye, and it's funny because I probably would have never even paid attention to it, but it caught my eye when I seen it pop up on my algorithm, obviously because I'm always on CNBC and money and all of this other type of stuff, but it caught my eye and I was like, oh, she on Millennial Money. And then I looked at it and I said, wait a minute. This is Shelby Church's actual channel. She's never actually done a Millennial Money. She's not waiting for anybody to do anything. She said, listen, this is a good video idea. I like it. I'm not trying to do the same thing that everybody else is doing. And so now I'm going to produce a completely different set of content based off of what I like to watch, which is the thing that I look at every single day. What I like to watch is what it is that I decide to produce. Those are the different channels that I'm inspired by. And so she said, listen, I'm not waiting on Millennial Money to be able to contact me. I am Millennial Money. And let me show you the receipts.
By CNBC, where they show how much money people make and how they budget it. So that is why the style of this video is going to be pretty different than most of my videos. All right, I hope you guys enjoy. Let's get into it.
Somebody in the chat said, I've never heard of her, but y'all heard of Pearl though, right? Okay, let's continue.
My day usually starts between 6:30 and 7:30 a.m. I never actually set an alarm, I just wake up at that time. I grab some coffee and I'm usually straight to my laptop for the first hour or two of the day. I usually spend about 8 to 9 hours a day working on videos. It is around that 40-hour-a-week mark that most people work, but I can tell if I've been slacking one week.
She spends 8 to 9 hours a day working on videos. Listen. She don't even hire black people. She just worked on her own. She do all of her own stuff, allegedly. I don't know. I haven't seen the video yet. Hopefully, she actually does all her own stuff because it would make me look even better in what I'm trying to convince y'all to do. She worked she's take this shit so serious. This ain't no part-time for her. This is what she do full-time. This is her full-time job. She worked 8 to 9 hours a day on her craft.
I'll be scrambling Saturday morning to try and finish a thumbnail. It does take a long time to make my videos. I like to get a lot of B-roll and interview shots. They're time consuming for sure. Usually around 5 p.m. is when I wrap everything up. I like to wind down in the evening and just actually enjoy my evening.
She does all of her own shots, all of her own interviews, all of her own travel, and put up all of her own money and does all her own thumbnails and editing. Work. Work.
It is so different what I spend each month. If I'm traveling and producing a lot of videos that month, it's gonna be a lot more. My rent here, I pay $2,750 every month for my.
Now, some people, it's funny because they'll say, well, why is she paying rent? I already gave y'all that sauce the other day of how it is that you can start to look at your place from a business perspective and why most people that I know specifically rent where they stay. Why is that chick still up on my thing?
My share of.
I don't know. Why most people that I know rent where they stay and where most people that I know rent where they stay and then they rent out where the places that they own. Now, I've been following Shelby Church for a little while, so I know she got some Airbnbs, she got some rental properties, but the place that she stays at is the place that she rents. But I want to look at the rest of her budget.
This apartment, I do share it with my sister so she can film in here, and she has are only like.
Back to this. She says random stuff $600. Utilities is $40. Airbnb is $546. Wi-Fi is $70. Travel is -$300. I don't know what that is. Food is $800. Health insurance is $385. Car insurance is $142. Subscriptions is $50 and rent is $27.50. So she must have made a mistake and put that minus in there because it all goes into the monthly expenses. So her total monthly expenses, when you talk about she allocates $3,000 for travel, which she can also write off as a business expense, is the equivalent of $8,395. So let's just say $8,400 a month, right? She got $8,400 a month and she's allocating $3,000 a month towards travel. Really, that would be $5,400 a month, but she's doing that from a business perspective, and it also feeds into her content and so on and so forth, right? She makes $981,000 a year. So total, let's just say that her budget goes up to the equivalent of a little less or a little more than $100,000 a year. Her total budget, and that's not even including all of the write-offs, go into the Airbnb is a write-off. So a lot of things that I can see on here is a write-off. Even the random stuff is a write-off. Subscriptions can be a write-off depending on how it is that you allocate it from a content creator's perspective. Her total budget is about $100,000 a year because she's living very frugally apparently, but she makes almost $1 million.
$40 a month here. My car is paid off, so I have no monthly payment. I even charge it for free because I've referred so many people from my Tesla videos. I spend a lot on food. I've been cooking at home more, but it's probably like $800 to $1,000 a month. I like going to dinner with people and getting a drink, and I'm gonna live my life. Like, food is something I love spending money on, to be honest. I love going out to eat. It's so fun. Travel.
She allocates $3,000 a month, which is basically the equivalent of about $36,000 a year in travel. All of that can be literally a tax write-off because that's what she does for work. She travels because she's a full-time content creator. She works over 40 hours a week on content creation. So she can spend $32,000, $33,000, $34,000, $35,000, $36,000 a month on travel. Our next trip, me, my assistant, my wife actually works for me. Our plane tickets is like $30,000, literally, because we going over to document Tokyo. We probably gonna be over there for anywhere from a week up to a month. We'll be living in Tokyo, documenting it this year, and so my plane tickets, because I'm flying Delta One, are the equivalent of about between $10,000 and $15,000 per ticket, round trip. My plane tickets are $10,000 to $15,000 round trip. And I'm going over there for business. My whole content creation is going to be created over in Tokyo, over in Japan. And so because I budgeted effectively, and a lot of y'all that's a part of the Patreon, y'all know exactly what I'm talking about because I explained a lot of this inside of the webinars. I'm literally expensing the entire thing because I need to get over there in order to create the content because I want to take what I'm doing internationally. My plane tickets are $30,000, actually $31,000.
Travel is something I spend a lot on because my video ideas just take me all over America. I try and use credit card points for my flights, but hotels are expensive. And over the summer, I had my videographer travel with me. So I was paying for her flight and her hotel and food.
And guess what? Because her videographer is traveling with her, guess what that also is?
Food and everything there. So, I mean, there were months where I was spending like $8,000 to $10,000 on travel. I'm not spending that much on travel right now. I've really scaled things back. I moved to Seattle exactly a year ago. I am from here, so it is nice to be near some of my siblings that live here and friends that I've known forever. It's also a lot less expensive to live here. I've noticed restaurants, if you're getting drinks, everything is like 20% cheaper than when I lived in LA. Housing is less expensive too. I'm about to move and it's gonna be way cheaper. But
some of the things that's wild a lot of times that people are not taking into consideration is that when you're used to living in like a New York or a Los Angeles, you think that a Seattle is cheaper because it's 20% cheaper than what it was that you were paying over there. And we're not even talking about from a tax perspective, but it's not that cheap. It's not that cheap at all. And people need to be really, really mindful of what it is that they're spending and the environment that they exist in, even where your home base and where you start your businesses, right? A lot of times y'all starting y'all businesses in your home base is in a place that you grew up just because that's what you're familiar with. What I'm telling you is that you need to get a mentor. You need to get out of your comfort zone. You need to be around other people that can give you the game and give you the sauce, because you can be a lot more productive and you can put a lot more money in your pocket, all by making a small phone call to better give you some assistance on where it is that you need to structure things or where your home base can be. That can literally put $100,000 in your pocket and you don't even know it.
The biggest thing is not paying state income tax. I would be lying if that wasn't a factor of wanting to move. When I realized that I could save like over $30,000 by not living in California, I mean, that's enough to have an apartment in California that you live in part-time. It was kind of a no-brainer at that point. $30,000 is a ton of money. That, 10 years ago, that's what I made in a year. So I do have an Airbnb. If you've followed along, you know it hasn't been the most profitable investment.
She does have an Airbnb, and guess what? Part of her creating that Airbnb was in order to show people what it's like having an Airbnb. And then she makes subsequent videos because, again, I follow her. I don't follow all black people. I know y'all only want to rock with all black people, but I don't follow all black people. I follow everybody that can give me some sauce so that I can better understand exactly what my strategy is going to be. And then I can make some informed decisions on whether I'm going to go into business A or go into business B, because then I can come back and give it to the bag chasers.
We didn't quite break even because we had more maintenance than expected. It was about $13,000 split between me and my sister. I had to pay $6,000 to have that Airbnb. I used to think an Airbnb would be like a no-brainer, so profitable, and the truth is it's harder to make them profitable than you would expect, especially now. I do think that eventually I'll be able to break even on that property. I'm getting solar panels. Bookings have been amazing lately. There's so many expenses you don't think about. Landscaping, pool cleaners, it's so much more than the mortgage. I still think it's gonna work out in the long term, but the first year wasn't that profitable. It was not.
Whenever you start a new business, and one of the things that people don't understand about people that's rich or wealthy, I heard somebody say what they think is the difference between being rich and being wealthy. I'm gonna save that for the bag chasers because I'm gonna break that down specifically for y'all. Our goal, and y'all think that our goal is to build more businesses. Our goal is to get rid of more money, which then translates into having more businesses, which ultimately then become more profitable because we're willing to take the loss on the front end in order to make more money on the back end. So the first thing that y'all got to do is y'all got to make more money, right? I keep hearing y'all say this dumb shit talking about, it's okay to live the simple life, $40,000, $45,000 a year. I'm going to be honest with you. I ain't seen nobody that's been as happy as some of the people that I done seen that make $250,000, $300,000 a year. You just got different options. But the minute that you start making more money, right, the first investment that you need to make is to make sure that you're getting rid of the debt, because it's much easier to be able to climb up a mountain without rocks in your backpack, all right, because we are climbing mountains. The second investment that you have to make is into yourself, education, things that actually generate more revenue, so on and so forth. The third investment that you can start to have is start to deploy it into making more money with other businesses and assets, because then you're trying to get rid of the money because you're incentivized by the federal government in order to get rid of the money so that you can make sure that you can pay less taxes, which then over time compounds and make you more money. So it's a formula to getting rich, and it's not just about creating another job for yourself. I would have you to know, and most people don't even pay attention to this. It got to be, I think, 40, somewhere like 35 million small businesses in the United States of America. The American population is only 350 million to 400 million people. That means that 10% of the business, 10% of the population, or 10% have a business. Well, why are you saying 10% have a business? Because, Anton, everybody don't have a business. Well, a lot of people have a business perspective, but here's the thing. If you got 350 million people and 35 million businesses, but here's the thing. Overwhelming majority of them, 80 to 90% of those people, are a one-person organization. They've created a job for themselves and they're not even making no money. So just because you start a business don't mean that you have a profitable entity. And more importantly, it doesn't even mean that you're getting the tax benefits that come along with it. When you see Biden jump on these conference calls or these State of the Union addresses, and he says, and we've had 5 million new businesses started within the last 6 months, and then everybody start clapping. They don't give you the context because they also don't tell you that the overwhelming majority of those businesses is going to fail. Secondly, a lot of people just started and filed for an LLC. It don't necessarily mean that they're making money. And third, a lot of those people just created another job for themselves, which then removes them from the roles of being able to get unemployment tax or unemployment insurance. So then when they go bust, then they just got to go and find another job, or they got to go and hustle because they don't know how to make money. And so understanding how money works, which is one of the things that rich people understand, which is why they continuing to deploy, even though she wasn't profitable in her first year for her Airbnb, she's saying, yo, I'm not getting rid of it, and it's going to make me more money long term because this is a profitable entity that I want to continue to deploy resources into in order to remove all of my tax obligations, and it's an asset that is going to appreciate over time. Follow me. Let's roll.
No, it wasn't profitable. On average, I would say the last 3 years I've made somewhere between $300,000 to $500,000 a year, but 2022 was something else entirely. That was my busiest year. It was really stressful. I made $981,000 in 2022. It just sounds crazy to say that.
And you know what the biggest problem is? It's trying to get rid of the money so that she don't have to give almost $500,000 in taxes over to the federal government. Now that is out of control. Giving $400,000 over to the federal government is not what you want to do, ladies and gentlemen. That is not what you want to do.
That was a goal for me, was to make $1 million in a year before taxes and business expenses. So it's really like half that. So I do have to pay taxes on that money, like I said, and business expenses like tax preparation, hiring that videographer. That was, a significant amount. I think
that is the devil. Did y'all see that? After tax income is $500,000. Her after tax income should have been way lower than that. Way lower than that. Listen, if your expenses, and this is one of the reasons why y'all need to understand how money works, because just because you make a lot of money, and you can tell that she's new money because there's no reason that she should have had after tax income of $500,000. No reason ever for her to ever have after tax income of $500,000. Okay? Listen, guys. And I'm not a tax professional. I'm not giving y'all advice. I'm just telling you what it is that I know based off of some of the people that I speak with. Okay? Read between the lines. If you know, you know. Ladies and gentlemen, she only has about $100,000 in personal expenses. If you only have $100,000 in personal expenses, why would you take home $500,000? Because guess what? That means that she's probably paying the equivalent of between $300,000 and $350,000 in taxes to the federal government. Now, Anton, how is it possible to make $1 million and then not take home at least $500,000 as a result after you paying taxes? Well, if she had any kind of people around her, right? Because you don't just want a tax preparer once you get around you. You don't want an H&R Block guy. You want an accountant. You want a tax strategist, right? A tax strategist. You want a business team. And it's much cheaper for you to pay people to give you the information to consult with on a regular basis than it is to give it over to the federal government. So what she should have done is she should have started multiple different businesses in which she deployed and got rid of. If you only need $100,000 to live, in which the majority of that looked like it was business expenses, then what you were supposed to do were get rid of literally the other $800,000 something dollars. Get rid of the money. Go and find and literally strategize. And that's how I know she was surprised about how much money she made. Literally strategize about how it is that you can invest in other things. You need to be investing in real estate. You need to be investing in other businesses. You need to be spending money improving the business that you have. Get rid of the money. Go and buy a studio like Anton did, right? Make sure that you got wardrobe. Make sure you got editors. I got editors now. I got a lot of different people that I can then substantiate this business. I got other people running channels. I pay people around me, right? I got the best artwork in here, the best aesthetics in order to make sure that people is in the mood. I feed people when they come in and do their shows and all of that. They got all of the drinks and stuff that they want. I make sure that I fly people back and forth because I want to make sure that I'm busting down the bag with people. Marketing and promotion is so many different ways in which you can get rid of this money that you can add more money into your life. Why would you give away $350,000, $400,000? You're giving away money. You're giving away the money instead of using the money to become bigger and promote your business. But see, let me rub some salt in y'all wounds a little bit. Instead of us having these conversations, instead of us working our ass off, instead of us planning, instead of us strategizing, instead of us trying to understand how we can come together to where we can make more money, instead of us making sure that we join the Bag Chasers so we can get these webinars, link is in the description as well as pinned to the top of the chat for y'all to join the Patreon, we spend more time being fake outraged and not following Shelby Church because she's a white woman. I only work with black people. Well, what if the information that you need to bring back to the black people that you love so much is actually sitting here with Shelby Church and she giving it to you for free? I don't care. I will stab myself in the foot because I feel like she's infiltrating the black people. Okay. But then kill yourself then. If that's what you want to do, go ahead and just kill your own opportunities. It's crazy. It's insane how we think. Insane how we think. Okay, let's continue.
I think it was about $30,000. I did also invest in some new equipment. I was so hesitant about doing this, but I'm so glad I did. It was expensive. This laptop is like maxed out, but it's so fast.
Get the maximum, get the best. When you have the resources to do so, you get rid of the money. Anton, why you always buying the top of the top? Why you buying all of this? Because it makes my life easier to be able to work on the best equipment, and then I can also write it off from a business perspective.
And the monitor does make it so I'm way faster at editing. So this stuff, it was an investment truly, but it's been super worth it. My taxes for this last year are not finished yet, so I've been saving for a huge payment for that. I've been paying quarterly too, but since I don't live in California anymore, I do keep more of it, and not gonna lie, it's pretty awesome. It's easy to look at YouTubers and think that it's not work because it's fun to do more of it, and I do keep more of it, and Not gonna lie, it's pretty awesome. It's easy to look at YouTubers and think that it's not work because it's fun to watch a video, but it is a lot of work actually creating videos, especially the more documentary style ones where you're going and interviewing people. It's work, and a lot of times I'm wearing multiple hats. I'm doing the sound, I'm setting up tripods, and I'm the interviewer. Like, I think part of the reason that I make a good amount is because I'm doing like 3 or 4 jobs in one. If I were to hire out all these things,
Now, guess what? You know what the interesting thing about it is? You know why Pearl such has a robust team that does some awesome things that allows for her to be able to, you know why? Do you know the different strategies that we trade behind the YouTube screen, that why we grow and all of this other type of stuff? You don't know? You still mad at her? It's okay.
wouldn't make nearly as much. Like, I could hire an editor, a sound person, a videographer for every video, but I find that I can do it myself just fine. I actually kind of prefer that a lot of the time. I work with videographers from time to time, but right now, with there being more of a recession, I haven't been, honestly. When I was 18, I was living off of YouTube. I was making like $30,000 a year, but I could see how it's like this snowball effect was growing more and more. When I was in community college, a lot of the teachers there just encouraged me to not.
What? Community college? No. What? Community college? For my bag chasers and for the people that's in the Patreon, Shelby Church has, I think, 1.7 million subscribers. Let me just double check it. Shelby Church has 1.77, almost 1.8 million subscribers. What if I told you that on YouTube alone, and the bag chasers, I've shown my receipts, I've shown my payments, I show everything, so on and so forth. What if I told you that on YouTube alone, ain't got nothing to do with sponsorships, ain't got nothing to do with everything outside of it, just AdSense alone? Because the majority of her income comes from sponsorships and AdSense revenue. What if I told you that the Millionaire Morning Show, with my, as of this recording, 130,000 subscribers versus her 1.77 million, that I make more than her just off YouTube alone? What if I told you that with my 130,000 subscribers and my Patreon members, you know what's up, I show the receipts inside of the bag chasers? That ain't got nothing to do with corporate America, which we bust down them bags too. That ain't got nothing to do with the other businesses, real estate, we bust down them bags too. What if I told you just on YouTube alone that I make more than $1 million? And you still sitting here arguing, going back and forth, instead of figuring out how to get the fucking money.
Transfer to a 4-year school. So they gave me the confidence to not transfer. They really could see where things were going. People were moving more towards YouTube than traditional film and TV. I never finished college. I don't have any student loans. I mean, when I went to community college, it was like $3,000 a semester. It wasn't that expensive. By the time I was 21, I made. If y'all wanna look at the receipts, I talk about them. I show them inside of my webinar. I even show my W-2 for my job. Like around $100,000 a year. And then there were years that it was a little less, a little more. It ebbs and flows. That is just like the nature of owning your own business. My big financial goal these days is to buy a primary residence that I live in. I rent here and I don't want to be a renter forever. I want to own a place that I live in. Yes, I have my Airbnb, but if I were to go back in time, I don't know if I would do that again, to be honest. I love the idea of buying a house. I want to fix it up, renovate it, make it exactly how I want it. And I want to pay off the whole thing before the 30-year mortgage. I love the idea of not having a mortgage. There's just something, the psychological aspect of that, I think would be.
There's no reason that this woman should have a mortgage. making $981,000 a year is no reason why this woman should have a mortgage if she don't want a mortgage. And more importantly, is no reason why she shouldn't be able to get her real estate game on if she's young. She'll figure it out. She got time to figure it out. She'll be much more successful, so on and so forth. But that's enough. It's nothing else for us to talk about with regard to that.